Now, I am going to pinch a Dave Mercer introduction for this one. Let's introduce him as the only Australian to have ever won a Bassmaster Elite Series event and to have come second in one as well. We got Carl Jocumsen with us here. Carl, mate, you are beaming. You have just had a super week on tour, and I know that everyone in Australia is recovering from epic sleep deprivation over the last 3 days. You've had a camera on board, mate. How's it feeling back at the ranch?
Yeah, back at home, it's good. We got done with all the interviews, and then there was a huge crowd there, so we had it was awesome. You know, everyone's wanting an autograph and pictures and kids, and it was just like I just love that. It's when people want that from bass fishing, it's something pretty special. So I stayed back, and we got all of that done. We loaded the boat, and Kayla had the camper on the truck. She packed up all of camp pretty much most of the day. And we were rolling out of there, and I drove about 3 hours, and then Kayla drove the last 3 hours. We got home about 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. So got a little bit of sleep, and then just straight back into it again. Where I did a huge clean out of the boat, gutted the boat, cleaned it all, got a bunch of stuff done. So we're back to square one, and all the boys have got here this afternoon. Gussie, Jeff Gustafson is here from the Canadian, and Seth, Feider, and Chris Grow. So we've got a burly crew here right now. They're all staying here for the week for Chickamauga, and they're all out there just rigging tackle. And I'm about 30 minutes off getting all my tackle rigged up, and then I'll be ready to roll for an AM start in Chickamauga. But yeah, what a week! I was so exhausted last night. I can't even remember driving. I was that buggered. I'm like, did I drive some like yesterday? And Kay was like, you probably shouldn't have been driving by the sounds of that. But I'm riding off a lot of adrenaline and just on a high. You know, there's the finish, the fans, the support on that fishery. You know, I've watched the Bassmasters there from like back in 2006 and even well on before that. It's a famous fishery, and just to be from Australia and come there and figure it out and be leading two out of the 4 days and have a shot at winning going down into day one. Gussie in the top 10, me and Brandon fighting it out first and second. Like it was a pretty cool story.
So I've done lots of these interviews with you, mate. We've had some crackers, and we've had some ones where it sounds like you're about to drive your truck into a ditch and just walk off to the nearest airport and come back home to Toowoomba. Mate, it seems like over the years, it's never your technique. It's never really your execution. It's always your decisions which make a big difference between looking for Carl at the top and looking for Carl at the bottom of the leaderboard. It seems like you made some really good decisions in this event, and in particular, that starting spot that you found. I want you to tell us the story about the last day, about how every commentator had given up on your starting spot and were like, misery guts that you were going there, and then you showed them what was in that joint. Tell us that story.
Well, I didn't know they were giving it to me like that because obviously I'm out there. But the camera guys and, you know, there's like a camera boat that's shooting photography, and there's another guy that's shooting film and drone stuff. And so it's the opposite kind of end of where I'd fish majority of the day and where a lot of the anglers are. And so they would follow me over there day one. I caught one fish, but I had like a 7-8 pounder on that I lost, and then that was it. And then day 3, I ran back there and basically never had a bite. And so day 4 rolls around, I'm leading. They're like, obviously you're going to go up to Jack's and start. I'm like, no, I'm going to start at that spot again. And you could just sort of tell they're like, oh, all right. Because they want action. They want the fish catches. They want to be able to, you know, shoot something. And I hadn't really provided that for the first 2 days. But I knew what lived there. I knew the potential. I'd seen it, and they just hadn't seen it. And it finally went down because that storm came through. I had wind, I had cloud cover, I had dark conditions, and they bit. And it was a tough decision for me to leave, but you know, I still think I did the right thing because once that sun come out, it really went dead. And I just got to capitalize early, and I caught a 5 and, you know, probably a 4.5 and a 2.5. So that's exactly what I wanted to happen. And that's what happened day one. I did that exact scenario, and then I ran up and I flipped 2 6.5, 7 pounders. And I'm at 25 pounds, and I'm rolling, you know, and I flipped a 4-pounder and upgraded one of those fish. So now I'm at 25. So when I started like that, I'm 2 flips away from winning this whole deal. And I knew that. I knew I was 2 big bites away to win on the final day. Someone is always going to have a magical day. Like what happened to me at 10 Killer, it happens to everyone. You can't come in and think, I hope everyone didn't catch him, because I didn't catch him that great. And so it was disappointing for me to not finish my limit out and not, have him. And, but Brandon blew it away in the end, which was good. Like, I'm glad he won, and that was amazing going back and forward. And I didn't know on live we were going back and forward, but I'm glad he blew it away, and it made me feel a bit better about not, finishing. I would have had to catch a 7 and another 4, or even thinking about one fish. Imagine if I caught a 7.5 on the last flip, that still wouldn't have been enough. So Brandon really just took it out, and he had a 2-pound penalty. So, he did the work, and he got the win.
It was his time for that weekend. Now, a feature of this event was that you were on the live cameras for 3 whole days, and normally you get on there for maybe 1 day or 2 days. Aussies can handle a night or 2 with no sleep, but 3 nights with no sleep is a real corker, mate. It's a real marathon to get through it all. So we love it. We love it when you got a camera on board. It's much more interesting than just watching Bass Track refresh.
Yeah.
We've got some videos coming up for you here now from some of your Aussie fans, mate. And this, I know you see a lot of it on social media, but here's some guys that are actually talking to you. So we're going to do this Gogglebox style, mate. You watch it. We're going to see your reaction to some of these guys and hear what they've got to say.
Awesome. Can't wait.
All the best. It's Adrian here from Sydney. Just want to congratulate you on your effort on the weekend. Santee-Cooper smashed it. Unbelievable. We enjoyed watching every second of it. Mate, you're an inspiration, not just in your fishing, the way you conduct yourself. The whole nation is behind you. We want to see you succeed. Make that classic.
Yeah, g'day, mate. Big Bretto here from Bundy, land of the rum.
Bretto from Bundy.
Keep on trucking, champ. You're doing us all proud. Bloody awesome to watch it going down.
Hey, Carl, it's Trevor from Kangaroo Island in South Australia. Not in Kingaroy, just on holidays, travelling around Australia. Watching the weekend, you did a great job. Well done.
Hi, Carl, and the bass fishing community out there. My name's Tom Hay from the Central Coast.
Oh, look at Tom Hay.
Just want to say you're a massive inspiration, and we're super proud of you. You did really well at this past tournament. I'd love to be doing what you're doing one day. Good luck at the next tournament at Chickamauga, and we'll be watching you from all the way here in Australia. Thanks, guys.
Oh, congratulations on the finish this week.
Yeah, g'day, Carl. It's Jeff from Bateman's Bay. I remember when you were a young fella and you were fishing in Kubi Dam up there near my barracks at Kabbalah, and we said g'day a few times. It's really good to see you doing well over there in the States. Love watching your work there. Through the week, amazing effort, mate. Good luck in the next ones.
Hey Carl, just want to say a big congrats, mate. Absolute stellar effort this week over there. Great to watch on Bassmaster Live. You're an absolute credit to the sport, mate, and you should be very proud, and you're definitely making us Australians very proud. Awesome job, mate. Good luck next week.
Hey Carl, great job on your second place today in America. Greetings from Gaza and the rest of the family from downtown Kovatstan. Well done. Good job.
G'day Carl, Blake and Grady from Brisbane.
The original.
Great effort on the weekend, pipped at the post, it's all good. Just let you know that you've inspired all of us fishermen back in Australia out there this afternoon, smacked a few brim, and was thinking of how you paved the way for all of us, so thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
So there you go, mate.
Cool. That's really
cool.
How's
that? How's young Master Hay? He's got the jerseys on the wall. He's got the pictures of the blue trophy. That's got to bring a tear to your eye, doesn't it?
Yeah, that reminded me of me. You know, that just was me at that age. And you know, back when I was that young like that, you know, I had a lot of people to look up to, but no one had sort of gone to the extremes of where I've gotten to, and so I can't imagine, you know, the young fellas growing up and seeing that it is actually possible and that someone's over here doing it, and I'm just glad to be that guy that's doing it. But that all of those guys, the Aussie accents, the lorikeets in the background, I hearing all of that, you know, that just reminds me of Australia. The Aussie accents are just bloody unreal, and yeah, what I'm doing in this sport just would not be the same without that right there. That right there makes this sport tenfold of what I could have ever imagined. So I read all the posts. It's hard to keep up sometimes, but it means the world, and I read and get through everyone. I try and get back to everyone. Right now it's just super busy, but keep them coming. I'm going to
awesome.
Keep working hard and just really appreciate you putting that together. It meant a lot.
That's awesome, mate. Now, in the background behind you there, you have got what we would call in Australia a shitload of boat and tackle porn. I want you to take us on a bit of a tour to meet a few of the guys that are staying at your joint, because the next event, it's in your backyard. You get to sleep in your own bed.
Yeah, we're 15 minutes from the ramp. This is the new shop, and it's a boat yard. It's a boat junkyard right now. So we got Gussie and Seth here.
What's going on?
Hey.
I like Seth because he's like a bogan Australian. So.
Yes, totally.
He's the bogan. What's a bogan? Seth would be a bogan.
A bogan is like someone who sort of married their sister.
Fair enough.
He's not that bad.
But guys, I think, Carl, we all love Canadians because they end every sentence in A, and we think that's like Australians because we end every sentence in A as well. We think that's great.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Usually I get chirped by everybody for that.
No, the Aussies like it. Yeah.
And I think that Seth, like, I just want a close up. I want to check out Seth's mullet because that's still the predominant hairstyle in Australia. And if Seth's got any mullet tips.
He's got a mullet and a missing tooth, so he's
knocked that tooth out. I'm looking pretty good right now, I'd say.
That's awesome, mate. What else you got going in the yard?
So that's Seth and Gussie. They're rigging out there. Gussie's boat and Seth, and then mine's out here. They're all sort of drying out. The boys all cleaned it, cleaned their gear up, and my boat's out drying. I've done a big clean-up job. And then just rigging my Millers and Shimano's and getting sort of all of tackle out from there, back in. I'm getting batteries and stuff sorted. And then we got Chris Scrow over here. So Chris he's parked up, and we got the Lance. I think Gussie will end up sleeping in the Lance. And Chris has got tackle everywhere. I don't know where he is right now. And then he's got the room with a view, so he's straight out over the property there. So it's a good place to be a fisherman right here. We're going to have a fun week, bunch of fish heads.
I know that when we go to an elite event over there and you take someone to a bass event that's never been there, they don't even see a boat. They get to the boat yard and all the trucks and trailers all parked up. That just snaps their noodle straight away. Like, you see all of the trucks that are twice the size of everything in here. But when you see the boats on the water, it makes the whole experience. I've got a question for you, Carlo. Like, Chickamauga's your home lake now. You've probably done a little bit of time over it, especially during lockdown when you had some time out. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage for you? Chickamauga in a tough time of year. Take us through what's going through your mind right now.
Yeah, people are quick to say, like, oh, it's your local lake. I'm like, I moved here in October. But I have fished. I've fished it a lot, and it's one of my favourite lakes. But a lot of people put their rods up and go hunting through the fall, and I do a fair amount of hunting, but I keep fishing right through the fall. It's one of my favourite times of year, and I have done that for the last 10 years, and that is why I'm doing well in the fall, just because I have continued to fish through the fall where a lot of guys are sort of ready to put the rods up and go hunting, which I totally understand. And you need to have a break and you need to get away. But that's when I test baits out and test new gear and able to, really open sort of my arsenal up with a lot of different things through that fall period when I'm not actually competing. Because when you're competing, it's just back-to-back tournaments and it's very hard to test and try new stuff out. So being here, love Chickamauga. It's going to be tough. Water's falling. I have no idea how it's going to actually fish, but we've got cool temperatures coming in, and it's going to get down into the 40s here on a couple nights, which is pretty cold. And the leaves are all falling. The leaves are changing colors all around us. So fall has really come in, and that could help the bite out a lot. There's the biggest bass in the whole country are in this lake. The last time I fished it, I caught a 9-pounder, but that was 2 months ago. So, I think it's going to be a grinder event. It's going to be tough, which should suit me, but not putting any pressure on myself. I've had, an up and down year again, but we're on the up. We're first time, I think, in history that Bassmaster has fished into the fall like this. And my history, all of my back end events are good. And then it's following suit. And I've had 2 great events in 2 super tough fisheries. And now we've got 2 to go. And I think if I can make 2 top 40s, 2 cuts, I'll be in that Bassmaster. That's the goal. That's the end goal, is make that Bassmaster Classic. And if I can do that, we've had the best year yet.
Now, awesome, Carl. One final question before we let you go and play with tackle.
Yep.
I noticed that at Santee-Cooper, you needed a limit fish on each day. You sort of didn't have, a spot that you knew you could just run to and catch a 2-pounder to fill out a limit in 10 minutes. Yep. Do you have something like that on your local lake? Say you need a 2-pounder to win the event and it's the last day. Have you got anything up your sleeve at all?
Well, I definitely have a lot of, I have a lot of secret little spots, but in the fall, it's different because they're not setting up anywhere. They're not setting up on a ledge. They're not suspending off a spot like a winter spot. They're chasing bait. So they're everywhere. And that's what makes it tough in the fall. The fish get just in random places. They go into backs of pockets. They look for dead-end spots. They get random, and that's what makes the fishing tough. The bass end up spreading out. But if it turns full fall, then every fish will be doing the same thing. But in this transition, you got fish coming off the ledges, coming off brush piles. You got fish that live shallow, and that it mixes them all up. And so then you get just a big spread out amount of fish, and they're hard to sort of target, so I've definitely got stuff up my sleeve that I'm going to look to and going to try, but I'm also going to keep a very open mind with this one because this is the highest pressure fishery in the entire United States. Every day during lockdown when I got to fish, 20 bass boats would pass me on a Wednesday, 2:00 in the afternoon. And so I started to realize I had to be careful on the spots that I'd worked hard to find, because if I find them and I'm fishing them with my wrap boat, 20 bass boats past you, that spot is basically toast. It's not going to get left alone. And so I've had to be a bit careful and bit more wiser to that kind of thing. And so these fish they're pressured, and it's going to take a lot of it's not going to be just straight down the line fishing. It's going to take every trick in the book to do well in this one, but I'm excited about it. I don't know. I've got to figure out how to catch them when everyone's catching 1 million. It's weird. I don't know. Like, the fishing's unbelievable, weather's beautiful, and I'm in the 80s, and the fishing's tough, and everyone's struggling to get a bite, and I can catch 5. It's I talked to Zona about it, and it's just I like to think into things like a lot and why they're doing it and this, and like at Santee with the punch bite, like most people, you punch and then you sort of hop it on the bottom and then you drag it back through and you punch and they hit it on the fall and you hop it, where I'd figured out I'd drag it to the top of the mat and shake it, and then they would come up underneath it and bite it off the bottom of that mat. And every one of my bites came like that, and that was like the smallest of details that went from I was competing against the best punchers in the world. Some of the guys in this group punch. It's how they win. That's how they've won millions of dollars punching, and they weren't doing well punching. So I'd looked into it so much. So in the fall, when it gets tough and those little intricate details matter, I do well. But when the fishing's phenomenal, it's area. Get in the area and catch them, and I know to do that. But I tend to look at the technique too much, and instead of looking for the area, like this is where it's going down, this way, and they're biting, and just catch them. I'm trying to figure out those little things. And so once I find that balance and I can do well in the slugfest, that's when I'm going to find, hopefully, making that classic just a little bit more consistent.
Yep, awesome, mate. Hey, happy anniversary to you and Kayla as well. I'm pretty sure it was about a year ago that you two got married. I saw her running around in the background there getting stuff organised, mate. Behind every great bass angler, there's an even greater woman, and you've done well there, mate. Happy anniversary to you guys, and thanks for taking the time to introduce us to the guys and listen to some of your fans on ABT Lockdown Live.
I appreciate you guys. Keep it coming. I don't take it for granted. I listen to all the messages. I love that. Love the Aussie support. The US support's unbelievable as well. And we'll keep it going. And hopefully one day I can be in that classic on that stage and the Aussies can be up in that stand like I've dreamt about for a long, long time. So
awesome.
Might be next year. Aussie
Cheers.
flag right there. See you guys. Appreciate it.